All right, everybody, welcome back to another great episode of Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter. Welcome back to the show. And in the house this week, back with us is Hank the Bass Geek. He's been out hitting the record button for all you geek fans out there.
Well, missed last week, as you can hear, because the old, Corona got me. I believe it's, you know, kind of reached out there and smacked me in the rear end and put me down for a little bit. But other than the voice, we're back. We're back. So things are
So
going
the,
good.
the geek is back. That is great. Thomas is on the road for you guys. He sent me some photos earlier. He's at Virginia Beach with the fam, and they're at an aquarium looking at fish. Guys, I mean, we're all about the fish. You know what I'm saying?
Must
It
be
don't matter
nice.
what type of fish. We're about the fish.
Must be nice to have that effort money like old Thomas does.
So you got me and Geek tonight, guys. Hope everyone out there in Radio Land is doing great. Tournament season is back. We are back on the road. By the time this gets recorded, someone has going to won $15,000 at Rivers and Roads.
Championship season.
So we got that little open event. We actually got two back-to-back events. They're just one-offs. And then we're going to have, we'll be on Claytor Lake the following weekend for I can't remember what their payout is. It's pretty daggone good, though. But it's another one-day event with a great payout. And then the fall schedule really starts to kick in late September, October through November, December. The basscast.com tournament schedule kicks back up into gear in October. Big Bass Tour will be back. The Cat Fall tournament schedule on Smith Mountain Lake will be back. So Alicia will be covering that for us again. So a lot of great fishing ahead. And we're going to talk about fall fishing here in a little bit. But Geek, besides being sick, besides being under the weather, what's been dropping in your world, brother?
Man, we did the video hasn't got a lot of views. I'd really love it for you guys to go out. It's it's the third year of it. We dropped it. Now we dropped another video about a little secret weapon. It's really not secret, but really where bass move in that late summer, early fall, and throwing those big swim baits in those brush piles and around those docks, and throwing those weedless versions too. Really getting down in that cover and beating on it. But we did another video, and it was a little expo that I've been helping out for the past 2 years, and I hope we can keep it going. I know it did real well, even though the weather was a little rough. But we dropped that video. We'd love for you guys to go out there and watch that. We'd love next year for you guys to come out, and anybody that makes baits or has a tackle shop, man, come down. I got to be the guest of honor, so this is right before I got sick, and
Probably how he got sick.
Had the boat in there and a TV set up, a bunch of my sponsors gear, and we was playing some Bass Geek videos talking about fishing, and that was a good time. So I always want to help out the community I live in. It's outdoorsman's paradise around here, and we had a really good time. I got to meet some
awesome.
cool people. So
So, guys, since Geek's been gone for about a week, we thought we'd do a little catch up on the world news here. And we actually had some news that dropped this past week. Like I said, you guys know it all drops on, we drop these episodes on Monday, guys, at 5 a.m. before the first cast comes out on Friday. And our other podcast is just it's a look back at some of the great writings from our content writers, Bruce Callis, Carson Maddox, and Calvin Herndon. That drops on Wednesday. So 3 great shows, 1 great network for you guys to listen. And like I said, all you got to be a part of is Basscast Radio, wherever you listen. Or please hit the subscribe button on YouTube so you never miss an episode of Basscast Radio. As you guys all saw the lottery. Now, the last episode that we had The press release had come out, but the picks had not been made yet for the lakes that are going to be forward-facing sonar and not forward-facing sonar. Um, Geek, let's we don't kind of, everybody's gonna probably beat this to death a little bit, but let's get your take on the whole entire coin flip. I'll tell you guys mine. Yes, okay, yes, it sucks. Geeks forward-facing all the way. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We know that, but I talked to someone earlier today, and he told me, and this is his opinion, and probably my opinion too. It was great to see we had 3 different networks. We had all forward-facing sonar. We had one period forward-facing sonar, and then we had no forward-facing sonar. So you just got to watch whatever you wanted. If you didn't like it, you got to watch it. But now Bass has gone to a coin flip. I am going to say this. If you're going to do it, it was a good way to do it because it wasn't like, oh, Bass Geek made that decision. Oh, Brian made that decision. No, you flipped the coin. It was heads or tails, and boom, that's what you got. Whether, it's going to change many different bodies of water, how they get.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, I was also talking about, guys, all we do is talk fishing at work. I ain't going to lie to you. And we were talking about the northern swing and how the smallmouth are not going to play a role, that, you're going to have to go hunt for the largemouth now because you're not going to be able to scope. Go ahead, Geek.
I don't know. Part of me is like, just have the balls to make the decisions, right? Like, we've seen that there was a release. I think Thomas shared it. I think you shared it. I even think Bass Blaster or whatever dude's name is shared it. That literally it broke down to, I think, in at least 2 of the leagues and the elites and in Major League Fishing, it was 50-50. So half the tournaments were won with forward facing and half of them weren't. And to me, if you schedule correctly, I mean, let's face it, these guys know how to schedule events and when to schedule events because they do it every year. Me and you, Brian, have had this discussion for years on end now that really as a pro, all you need to be is good at the pre-spawn, spawn, and slight post-spawn. We're talking about right after the post-spawn because it's all they do. They start in Florida or somewhere in the very deep south, and they just chase the spawning bass all the way north. It's just what they do. So, and I get it. It's big catches. It's when the bass are at their best. But is that the best for the sport? I don't know that it is. I don't know that it ain't. But my point is this: Bassmaster, if you're going to, I mean, even MLF has got their face man that takes all the heat. Don't be afraid of the heat. If you're afraid of the heat, get out of the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, truthfully, you can make your schedule, and I think they have enough minds to be able to build a schedule that supports a 50% forward-facing sonar and supports 50% where it's not going to be forward-facing sonar play. I don't know. The whole coin flip just seems like a way of saying, wasn't me. Can't blame me.
That's 100% true. That is really true. And you guys know, I brought up on last week's show, I was watching an elite angler talking about, what was it, Texas. I think this year elites had 2 events in Texas, and one was one on forward facing and one was not one on forward facing. And people got mad because they were catching dinks and they weren't catching the big fish. It's a total different body of water, by the way. So, I mean, we're coming to a point of damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah. So there's always going to be that squeaky wheel. Well, we want to see you catch the giants without forward facing sonar. Okay. On some lakes, you're not going to see a lot of those giants.
No.
But I put this in a video. I think it was my September bait guide video. I seen the NPFL, and love those guys at the NPFL. But I seen those guys release a statement, and I put in there. I said, I said the NPFL is probably the most true example, because in the MLF and the elites, they cut down after the
Right.
first 2 days, and then so on and so forth. But everybody fishes on the NPFL all 4 days,
3 days.
3 days, and
Yep.
I said I seen a statistic where it was like 10 or 15%, like it was going to break their record. 10 or 15% of the anglers caught a limit every day.
Wow.
Now think about that. And that was
No
good.
face. Yeah, it's great.
That was without four faces, but that was like their record. Now,
Yeah.
and I said in the video, I said, that goes to show you. I said, I had a conversation with a pro one time. He was talking about the pressure and, versus the pressure of doing social media. And I told him, I said, well, I said, if you are sucking, you don't have a camera in your boat because there's only 10 or 12 of them. I said, if I suck, my camera's rolling all the time. So I said, 90,000 subscribers are seeing the suckage.
Yeah, they can all watch the live.
Yeah. So, that's the sort of, my point is you can't go everywhere and catch giant fish. Not everywhere is a great fish factory that you're going to catch giants. And I think me and you both, it goes back to what we've said about liking to see the pros maybe fish in August and September, more in October, is because that's some of the toughest times of the year.
Yeah.
We want to see you fish tough lakes. And I guess maybe most people don't, maybe most people don't want to see it. Maybe we're wrong on that. But I like to see, look, I don't care about going to see a NASCAR driver drive on a glass slick track where he can pass people easy. What's the fun in that? I want to see your patience tested. I want to see if you're going to get spun out, not physically, but mentally. Right. I want to see, because it's the mental side that makes the difference between pros and Joes.
Oh, 100%. And you guys know, I mean, we've brought up so many times here that, that's one of the reasons why we love the NPFL so freaking much, is because, they still got a couple tournaments left where everybody else is all wrapped up. They're all done for the year, and they've all fished their pretty little lakes and catch their giant bass. And, it's really cool. I don't have the NPFL schedule coming on my brought up right now, but I still know that I know there's 2 events. And then I think the championship's not until October down on Lake Hartwell, down in South Carolina, which I'm hoping really to get down there, to be honest. I really would like to get down there. But because I really would like to meet everyone. I've met Paul, but I haven't really met the rest of the staff and the team, and it'd be freaking awesome to meet them.
Yep.
But you kind of wonder, honestly, like you were just saying there a second ago, Geek, do we want to, we're going to give Thomas's baseball analogy. Do we want to go to a baseball game where you watch the guy, build a break down a pitcher or break down a hitter? Or do you want to go to a home run derby and where every person hits a home run, and they're 8-pounders and 7-pounders and 10-pound bass and stuff like that? Or are you willing to say, hey, I want to see these events go further into the year where I'm actually learning something? You know what I'm saying? I'm actually learning something, because, that's going to, it is a tough line, tough line saying, okay, we want entertainment and we want people to see these giant bass. But then you got the tournament angler. Hopefully you can comment below on my opinion on this, really. Are you really wanting to learn something? You know what I'm saying? Are you really watching this video to see what this angler does, how he changes things up, what he's how he's breaking down a water, how he's, like Geek said there a minute ago, how he's staying mentally fit during the fall water transition that's taking place right now here in Central Virginia.
Yep.
So and it's getting ready to happen all across the United States over the next few weeks. We're going to start seeing that. But it's one of the things, like, hard, I guess, for them to, I don't know.
Well, even in baseball, you have your purists, right? The guys that love to see a good pitcher throw,
No hitter.
11, 12, 20 strikeouts and throw a no hitter, but you also have your, your pass by fans who want to see the home run derby, right? The quick plays, the hits, the throw it around the bases, the sliding in. So you just have to be careful, as we've heard from NASCAR, who's basically came out and said we've alienated our core audience. So you got to be careful, but you also have to progress. And so I understand why Bassmaster is doing it. I don't think it has anything whatsoever to do with the fact that forward-facing sonar, that they were 100% forward-facing sonar. And let's go back and look at the Kyle Welcher event. I mean, nobody thought that event was going to be a forward-facing sonar event.
Right.
That he basically lapped the field,
Yeah.
So, and he did it using forward-facing sonar. And I think that's what you're going to see, even the events where they're like, oh, it's not going to be forward-facing sonar, might be in play on this river, but not as much. There will be guys that figure it out using forward-facing sonar. Now, one of the interesting things that I found was that they're not going to allow them to use it in practice.
Nope.
So that's a big deal there.
Yeah. And guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you guys have not watched the NPFL, you're crazy. We love the NPFL here at thebasscast.com. But the top points leaders at the NPFL are all Bassmaster elite anglers who can't use forward-facing sonar in the NPFL. Help us out here. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
proof's in the pudding. They're the top of the top for a reason.
They are the best of the best for a reason, and that's why we're not there and we're not the best. But
they're the elites.
The elites. All right, guys. So this past week, we're going to call it like that, but the Bassmaster Open schedule popped out. And Bassmaster just went ahead and they picked the bodies of water that they decided were going to be. They've decided there's 2 divisions. And 2 lakes are going to be forward facing and 2 lakes are not going to be forward facing sonar for each division. Other than that, I think all the rest of the rules will stay the same. But yeah, I mean, it's some bold moves happening right here by Bassmaster. Even after a lot of talk a week ago about Bassmaster being in bed with some of the FFS people and some of the FFS people writing checks, I don't know. It's kind of like here at the Basscast. A few years ago, I started making some changes to the website, and I would add some social media to it, and I would add some messaging, and you guys didn't like it. You told me you didn't like it. I got rid of it. We're kind of, and this is my opinion, we're treading on that right now in the professional side of tournament bass fishing. We're all trying to find the perfect little niche to try to make a few people happy. Their 1 million Facebook followers happy, which is probably really about 50,000, maybe about 100. We'll go to maybe about 100,000 people happy. But yeah, so I mean, we'll have to see what the heck happens.
Man, I mean, it's look, there's no outside money in bass fishing. So bass fishing, if you want it to survive, if you want tournament fishing to survive, you're going to have to want the biggest moneymaker players in the game to sponsor it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, as a group of people, as you as an audience, are telling them get out,
Yeah.
then you're going to get what you asked for, and you're going to get the end of at least one, maybe two, who knows, maybe all three legitimate professional leagues because they'll be unsustainable.
Yeah. So, guys, we're really, at the title of the last episode of SKS Radio. Well, what will 26 actually end up being? I mean, really and truthfully, I mean, what will we're going to see the same thing. We saw the cut in the field. We're hoping to see more technology, more TV for the Bass Pro Series, and that's what they promised there. Which we lost, if you ask me. That was one of the biggest complaints, in my opinion, that we kind of lost this connection between so many of these anglers that made the jump to Major League Fishing. I have been told, the grapevine, that there is going to be an exodus from Major League Fishing, maybe. And people are going to go fish the NPFL. So that's going to be a lot tougher NPFL field. Will we see NPFL go, it was more the weekend angler warrior type deal where we see it a lot more on the pro side? Is it going to be the pros versus the Joes?
Mm-hmm.
No, will we see, we'll maybe in the next year see that kind of split? Or I'm just throwing this out here, just an idea.
Yeah.
Because, with the influx of a lot of professional anglers and the NPFL, even with their $4,000 or $5,000 entry fee, are we going to see, okay, I don't want to fish against the pros anymore?
What kind of blows my mind about that, and I'd heard that maybe some are now kind of coming back, is because they changed the payouts in
NPFL?
the MLF. What is it? Tackle Warehouse. So
Yes.
now a lot of them are kind of reconsidering making a move.
Yeah.
So,
but I did hear, and I think I heard somewhere that and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, comments below, that the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Series is going to be is going up on their entry fee to $7,000 a tournament.
Yeah. So,
and that's and even with the lowest of payouts of like $10,000, you're not making any money.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've said it a lot. It blows my mind that series hasn't purposefully been tanked to get rid of it. I mean, because realistically, you got the BFLs, you got the Toyota, and then you've got the Pro Tour.
Right.
So
you get the NPFL's, Toyota, the Tackle Warehouse Series, the Bass Pro Series.
But I mean, I'm just talking about the MLF side.
Oh, yes.
Take a look at what the elites. You've got the clubs, the opens, the elites. You got 3 series or levels. So it blows my mind that they can find enough, because I always thought they'd get rid of the Tackle Warehouse Series and just kind of run everything through the BFLs, the Toyotas, and then the Pro Series.
And you're right.
Because think about it. I mean, from a business aspect, you get rid of that league, sure, you piss a few anglers off, right? But you get rid of that league, force everybody to qualify through Toyotas. Look how much money you're saving. Look how many of those sponsors you can now put that money into the Pro Tour.
Right.
Or the Toyota. Or spread it out across even the BFLs, all 3 of those series. To me, I mean, looking at it from a business aspect, if I was, Boyd Duckett, I'd probably be getting a lot of darts thrown at me because I do away with it. I would, from a business aspect, I do away with it.
So you guys all know we brought up a couple weeks ago about that. That were kind of surprised that they threw the money at the tackle warehouse,
Yeah.
the guaranteed money at the tackle
Yeah.
warehouse. And we were really surprised that they kind of did a reboot. And that's what they really did, was a reboot. And that's
Yeah.
what, Bass Geek right there is talking about, trying to get some of these anglers to return back to the tackle warehouse series. Hey, we talk about this. We're gonna swap topics and go a different direction here in a little bit. There aren't so many anglers left. We're
Yeah.
running through a lot, and money ain't there. It's things have gotten extremely crazy, extremely expensive. I mean, $100 worth of groceries now is about 5 bags. I mean, $100 back in my day, I ain't that old, but back in it, even just like 5-10 years ago, was a whole trunk full.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of things have changed in the world of professional bass fishing, and I guess that's why we really concentrate on, and we talk about a lot. Is this going to become a professional sport where the anglers get paid, where everybody kind of gets paid, and this is the elites of the elites, and we go that direction. So only time will tell. 2026, guys, it's almost the end of September. It'll be here before you know it, and we'll be right back on it after me and Geek goes to about a dozen expos and shakes a crap load of hands and hangs out with a ton of people.
I think I'm turning that dial back just a little bit this year.
Yeah, I think,
We did a lot last year.
I think we're gonna go to
This
Tennessee.
year.
We're gonna go to the Classic. We haven't decided on Tennessee, the expo there, because the Classic's in Tennessee.
Yeah.
The Major League Fishing Red Crest is going to be a 12-hour plane ride. Not literally, but it's a nice plane ride.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you'd like to sponsor the basscast.com, if you like what we do, you like our content, become a Patreon member. The link is in the comments section below. I put it in there every week. It's like $5 a month to be a Patreon member. You get the podcast early on Sunday, and it is commercial free. So thank you guys for who are a Patreon member. Thank you guys for being a Patreon member. Earlier, you guys heard me talk about water turnover, everybody. And I got a coworker. He's been hitting the water. He's been helping on Smith Mountain Lake the last couple of weeks and hitting it pretty daggone hard. This young man is. I give him kudos for that. His kids have flown the coop, by the way, so it's helped a lot.
Yeah.
But the water turnover, Geek, break it down. We did a story about it a while back, but break it down for people that don't really understand what the water turnover is all about. And we'll talk about catching giant bass during this time of year and getting back into fall fishing.
Well, lake turnover happens, and I don't remember the exact water temperature. I want to say it's in the 50s. But basically, what happens is through the year, unless you have, of course, a river with a lot of current, that sort of stuff, and you'll still get it somewhat there in certain deeper areas. But in most of the lakes, Smith Mountain, for example. Now, Brian, I don't know, do they drop Smith Mountain during the wintertime?
They do.
So, yeah, and that can change. That can actually speed it up. But a lot of times what happens is if you've ever been swimming and you've been out over some deeper water and you feel by your feet colder water, well, that is called, oh my Lord, I just went brain dead, a thermocline. So it stratifies. The colder, denser water drops to the bottom during the summer. It's also full of things that are falling in the water, leaves, dead fish, that sort of stuff. There's this decay that drains it of oxygen. There's no real current there. So what happens as we get a little bit of wind blowing in, a little bit of current, the nighttime temperatures start to fall, we get what's called lake turnover. Now, sometimes it'll start in some creeks or up the rivers first and work its way to the main lake. But what ends up happening is it begins to mix up. You'll see a lot of
Right.
bubbles, and you'll smell some funky smells. And
Yes.
and in Smith Mountain, where the lower end is very clear, it'll get real dirty. Now, for you all that don't know, if you get it's a great time to throw a jig, by the way, in September, simply because when do they start dropping Smith Mountain?
Dude, they drop it like all the freaking time. That's the problem. Is it?
Or
It's
do they start dropping though for the winter in like say September? I know here they start dropping almost all the lakes in September.
yeah. They've already started dropping Smith.
Okay, so if you can get every once in a while, every few years, you'll get this nice little cold front. It'll get real cold real early. And what will happen is the lake will turn over before all the cover is out of the water. And oh, it's a great time to go flipping and pitching because those those sight feeder bass will pull up shallow under boat docks and
Hmm.
lay downs and that sort of stuff. And it is I mean, it is a blast. But that's kind of just a very simplistic way of talking about lake turnover. Uh, I know a lot of people have problems catching bass during this time. Uh, if you're in a dirtier lake, it can be a little tougher. But those clear lakes, it generally will involve the lake staining up, which means those bass will go to the shoreline. They'll go to cover. Like right now, my lakes are not. So we were out just the other day. Now the temperature started dropping in my area almost always in middle to late August when it's almost like clockwork immediately when those nighttime temps start to drop. And that summer, you get those first 2, 3 days of that water temp starting to really drop from those mid 80s down to those low 80s. The fish are on the move, the shad are on the move. And what they do on my lakes is they move from, say, the first thirds of the creeks
Right.
actually to the deeper areas because they drop the lakes quite a bit where I'm at.
They
South
don't drop that
Holston, they'll drop it 25 feet.
Wow.
Cherokee, they'll drop it 30, 35 feet. Douglas, they'll drop 30 to 40 feet. And those bass know. Um, but some of the things you can do, especially in September, uh, as that water drops, those crawls will back off with it. So again, it's a great time to throw crawl baits, especially around the new moon and a full moon, because that's when the crawls like to molt, especially the big crawls in September. They love to molt in that new moon under darkness. Great time to throw a jig or a any kind of soft plastic crawl if the water's clearer. But so September is a great time to pick up those football heads or anything like that and go to fish in the bank.
Does Geek have any special rigging for this time of the year? Anything that you kind of might change up just a little bit?
You know, uh, for me, and generally, the turnover really doesn't start to happen until mid to late September. Uh, Here, and I'd say probably on Smith Mountain, it probably really hasn't got into full fledged. So those bass are really keyed in. And they're starting to split up a little bit depending on where you're at. Some of them are going to the bank. Some of them they love brush. One of the things, like I said, the videos that we threw out today or a couple of days ago, we were talking about fishing laydowns. But if the water is still clear, those bass will get into those laydowns. They'll get around those boat docks, and it's a great time to throw like a Bastrix with a weedless A big one. Throw a big one.
Yeah.
5, 6 inches, somewhere in there. Not huge, but a good soft plastic, and that clear water looks tremendously natural. And literally throw it like a spinnerbait. You want it bumping and hitting that tree and hitting those posts and, skipping it over in there.
Interaction bites.
Yeah. And another rig, a lot of your guys will be very familiar with this. We all know bass are busting this time of year. They're chasing those shad. They're out there and wide open. There is a pattern to this. And if you can go out, one of the biggest things is stay off your trolling motor, because a lot of times they'll start busting. And if you'll pay very close attention most of the time in that area, they'll bust in certain spots in that area. So what I'd like to do is set up my boat to where I drift with the current, wind, or whatever, and I've got something I can make a long cast on. Now with forward-facing sonar, we can see those schools of bass roaming around out there. And so you guys that fish the herring lakes probably know about this rig because it was used. This is where I learned it. But you take a heavier swivel. I can't remember the number, but it's a good heavy swivel. Rig it up 2-3 feet above your fluke. And you just put your fluke on a good, 4 or 5 aught hook, something that's not going to be too heavy. You make a cast and you just start cranking it. And that fluke, what it does is it'll skip and hop and jump and shin, and it looks like a fleeing bait fish. And you can stop it and let it sink. Those bass will come to it, and then you just start cranking it again. So if you're using forward-facing sonar, or if you're not, and you're just following the busts around, this is actually something that I learned from the South Carolina guys chasing those herring feeders in the spring and in the fall. So it's a great way to get those reaction strikes when they really get into chasing bass.
That's awesome. All right, guys. A little bit of tips and information from Mr. Bass Geek himself. Like I said, it has the mornings here have been pretty cool, and it's been about a week of them so far in the 50s, mid 50s, roughly, waking up here in Central Virginia. So we are going to start seeing that water temperature change. And, you kind of wonder, the Rivers and Roads event, like I said, coming up, you kind of wonder. I know the creeks, we know creeks move. We know they move pretty fast. They move a lot faster than lakes. But you kind of wonder what the fishing's going to be like this weekend, and what, will they be, like he said, busting, or is it going to be tough? And it's been kind of tough for a lot of the anglers the last few weeks. So we'll see what happens this week as well. Now we are going to Claytor Lake in about 2 weeks. Well, it'll be a week after this podcast comes out. It's a clear body of water, a small body of water, but it's not really known for the giant bass this time of the year. And it's going to be pretty daggone tough. And, we've seen this event won with like 10 to 15 pounds. It's crazy it's that much money given away for that little weight.
That's every tournament in my area. What are you talking about?
So we are in the transition. I'm ready to see some of the giant bass to come on back. But we did have seen, and I'll tell you guys this: if we keep up with, right now it's not a lot of weekend stuff going on. It's the Friday nighters, the Thursday nighters, and there's been some pretty damn good bags on Smith Mountain Lake. Some 10-pound bass, 9-pound bass caught, and good God, that was 3 fish limit, Geek. I think it was like 20-some pounds.
Listen, they're tying the feed bag on right now. We were out 2 days ago, and they were chasing shad. We seen them around shad. We seen them in big wolf packs, big schools. They weren't busting a whole lot, and so we would take and throw a topwater over top of them. They wouldn't come up and hit it. They'd come up to it, but they wouldn't hit it. So, of course, we resulted to kind of running through several minnows. And, it was typical fall fishing. You catch one on one minnow, one on another minnow.
Right.
It's just, I had a buddy that used to tell me this time of year in September, if you catch them on one bait, just put it down for the rest of the day because you ain't going to catch them on it again. They're just, what it is they get so keyed in on that tiny little bait, those shad and those small bluegill that, hatched earlier in the year that they get very hard to catch. So downsize right now. I think downsizing is key. Now we would throw bigger baits. We would get around where we seen larger shad, and we would throw bigger baits, and the bass would go berserk, but they would never commit. Okay. And so we didn't have a lot of time. We had a couple of videos we had to film, so we only got to fish for about 4 or 5 hours. But then that's when the light bulb went off, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? They come up for top water. Let's see how aggressive they are." We pulled out the old fluke trick, and it paid off real fast. So
that's awesome. All right, during this fall turnover period, do you see a different time of the day that the fish are a lot more active?
Not really. I mean, that's something that even during the wintertime that I've discovered, you still see that morning feed and that evening feed.
Okay.
And I don't even know, like I have not figured that out because I'm always kind of a morning angler, even in the wintertime. And I'm telling you, it's just like as soon as the sun comes up, they're feeding. I don't understand. I mean, you would think, especially in the wintertime when it's the coldest that it's going to be, that would be different. But in my experience, it has not been.
So, we've said it here. Fish are kind of like us, guys. When you eat breakfast early in the morning, they just stay with the same pretty much pattern, and they're hungry early in the morning as well. So, we know they're going to eat. It might not be as exciting as they do during the rest of the season, but they're like us. They're going to eat as well. All right, guys. I'm just going to wrap us up tonight, but there's a little bit of juice from the Geek tonight. Appreciate that, Geek. Like I said, Geek has spent more time out on the water. I cover tournaments. Geek shoots videos, and Thomas keeps up with the DMV for us. So, I mean, we're all three here, and I keep up with what's going on in tournament bass fishing and try to keep up with where I have to be next.
Yeah.
But Geek's on the water, and he is our main man when it comes to water tournament, water information, and ways for you guys to catch fish. And you can learn more about Geek if you head on over to his channel right now and hit that subscribe button. Let's get him to 100,000. He needs that plaque on that back wall, okay? I want to see the plaque on that back wall by the end of the year, guys. It costs you nothing to hit a button.
That's right.
I know you guys. I mean, it costs you something to buy a weigh-in bag that I have to supply for you. But for you to hit that button, it costs you nothing to follow Bass Geek, Thomas, and I.
And we are right now at 89,871. So we're closing in on the 90K mark. So,
all right, let's make it happen. Come on, people. We're gonna host the Jerry Lewis telethon here one night. We're gonna go till we get 100. All right. All right. Appreciate you guys all watching. Geek, anything? Geek's losing his voice. Geek's been on the way, like we said earlier, so I didn't want to keep him too long today. But the dude is putting in 110%, going on 50%. So thank you, Geek. Really appreciate that. Anything else going on in your world real quick before we leave? Anything new they need to be watching out for if you're not following Bass Geek on YouTube like we told you?
The biggest thing is, the rig that we were talking about, we've got that video coming up. Got a company that has a fall fry drop that is going to be, that we just shot that video for. Some really unique baits there, custom made sort of stuff. So that'll be coming out in the next week. And other than that, just pray that everything is well with my boat trailer, because we had a little bit of grease getting slung out of it there the other day when we was on our way to the lake. So I got to get that back. Man, makes me wish I hadn't sold old Ruby. You know, she was my backup boat. I told the marine dealer over there, Watson's Marine, great place to buy a boat, by the way. I was like, man, y'all gonna have to have a backup boat, man. So, you know, I was like, I don't mind to pay you a little bit for it, but I got to get out on the water. So
he needs a demo ride, everybody.
I know. So, you know.
All right, guys. Don't forget, follow Geek. Last but not least, if you're not a Patreon member, please become a Patreon member. In the links below in the comments, you guys can hit the Patreon member button, and I think it's like $4.95, $5.95 is what we're charging a month. Free early access to Basscast Radio, as well as commercial free. Also, the Basscast.com tournament series will begin next month. Big Bass Tour next month. Cat tournament series next month. A lot is going to get kicked up right here at the end of this year. And we'll be promoting the Basscast Tournament Series a lot over the next few weeks. So I'll put the link in the comments below for that as well, so you guys can head on over and get signed up. Everything is done on the internet, boys and girls, now. We've all gone to that pretty much. It's so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
Danielle did a great, put together this great form for you guys to fill out. You can sit there on the toilet if you have to and do it in minutes. I mean, really and truthfully, it takes minutes to do it. You pay for the tournament, you pay for your registration fee, you pay for all of it. But we'll have more information coming out really, really soon. Thank you guys for watching. And Thomas will be off again next week. So it'll be possibly me and Geek back next week, or it might just be me. So
Big Money Thomas, man, he's out there.
Dude, living it up.
Living it up.
Well, hey, congratulations to him either way. You know, you got him. So, but we hope he's having a great time, enjoying time with family. And that's what it's all about. I know I'll be off for Thanksgiving, guys. By the way, Christmas I'll be off, and there will be no Basscast Radio during both those holidays. Usually one of those, me and Danielle take a trip. We go away for about 4 or 5 days, so that will be the same. So we're getting close to the holiday season, and I know Geek's going to have some really cool videos on what you guys should buy during the holiday season coming up. It's never too early. You know, these holidays, excuse my French, but they keep getting pushed back. I mean, Halloween now starts in August. I mean, it's like, golly.
It's like, what are you people doing?
What in the hell are you thinking?
You know, I just get out my broomstick and ride it around a little bit.
Rise away. You guys are crazy. All right. Appreciate you guys listening. Have a great night, and we will talk to you guys later right here on Basscast Radio.